what are the similarities and differences in parents using authoritarian parenting style and those using authoritative parenting style? The similarity is that both parents are very firm, both parents are very strict, both parents set rules that they expect their children to follow, both parents enforce discipline in their children. So what they do is the same, but how they do it is what separates the two. Authoritarian is the kind of parent that's very rigid. They're very inflexible. It is their way or the highway. And so they never give their children an opportunity to speak up or to even learn how to speak up. They don't tolerate another point of view or another perspective. And so when they say this is going to be done, then this is going to be done. And if it's not done, then the child is going to suffer the consequences of harsh punishment. So such parents, authoritarian parents, usually provide a very restrictive environment for the child to discover their authenticity, because they're not allowed to think for themselves. They're not allowed to speak for themselves. They're not allowed to behave in the way that they want to behave. They have to do what the parent says. And so these children grow up into adults who have very little skill or capacity for self-expression. They don't know how to do that because they never grew up in an environment that allowed them to practice how to express themselves. And so they're going to make mistakes as adults that they should have made as children and learned to correct. And so a lot of adults growing from that environment tend to have very low levels of self-esteem. They tend to be susceptible to mental health problems, and studies show that during adolescence, they're usually more susceptible to substance use, experimenting with drugs like alcohol, cannabis. But when you come to authoritative parenting style, it's usually considered the ideal parenting style, because here the parent is still disciplining the child, but in a very empathetic manner. They do it in an understanding manner. They actually explain to the child why they're enforcing that discipline. They allow the child to speak up. They allow the child to reason, to explain themselves. And then if the reasoning is not good, they correct it. So these parents, they are very warm to their children. They allow that channel of communication such that even if I make a mistake and I may be punished for it, but at least I'll be able to learn from that mistake. So their parents teach them how to speak respectfully, how to assert their point respectfully, how to set boundaries, how to carry themselves around. They teach them different etiquette in social interactions. And so these children grow into adults who have very high levels of self-confidence. They're very self-aware, they've got very good self-direction, they're able to set goals and go after them. And they have very low risk of developing mental health problems. And some studies have shown that during the adolescent period, they reduce significantly the initiation of substance use. So these children are not very prone to using drugs during the adolescent period, experimenting on drugs during the adolescent period. And so for you as a parent, you want to start assessing yourself and see what kind of parenting style do you use. We've only talked about two. There are 4 different types of parenting styles.